Hello, welcome to another edition of Significant, a segment here on Infused where we invite guests to talk about cannabis and share stories about the plant, the culture, and the community that's brought us in and has done so much in our lives. You're listening right now to the wonderful sounds. You're listening to our song, and it's my pleasure to have our guest on today. Our song is the product of this singer-songwriter, an all-around shaman when it comes to all things righteous, in my opinion. Wilmington's native son, Kenny Vanella, is joining us. Kenny, welcome.
Welcome, Nick. Thank you so much for having me, man. This is really a treat.
Oh, dude, Kenny, it's my pleasure, and all of us here at Alias Can are really happy that you could join us. It's funny when I drove in here today, and we're very much in transition here. In a normal year, we'd have you down and you and I could talk face to face, but we know we're not living in a normal year or anything close to it. But the studio here is in transition, and as I was coming here today, I was thinking about something, and this idea of the pandemic keeping us apart. And one thing you need to know, one way I remember feeling connected in the early stages of all this last March, when there was so much uncertainty, I would get the biggest, like, little warm spiritual boost. And I'm not kidding you, man. I mean, I would look at your Instagram stories and I'd see you get up early in the morning and hustling. And I mean, during a troubling time, I'd be able to see my friend. I'd be able to hear some amazing deep Rasta wisdom. And I'd hear, the important message of keep going. We keep going. So I need to thank you for that, man.
Listen, Nick, I really appreciate you saying that, because there are quite a few people at that time had reached out to me and said, really look forward to your positivity every morning, and I need it in my life, and just thank you. And again, with the this last year has been so difficult for everyone. Just the pandemic alone, it was an election year, which has everybody at each other's throats. And I just wanted to really take that time and just keep that positivity up and stay away from all that stuff that just divides us and that nasty negativity. So I really appreciate you saying that, man.
Oh, no. I mean, it's from the heart, and it's something that we needed. I mean, that idea of what brings us together and focusing on that instead of all the abstract stuff that keeps people just arguing with one another, fighting over pointlessness. It was one of my, and it still is. I saw the story today. It's still one of my favorite things. And I wanted to begin with that idea of connection because Kenny and I go way back. So I wanted to start there with what brings us together. I guess it's Wilmington's West Side. It's a little school in Wilmington's West Side.
That's right.
And, we're talking about cannabis culture here on Significant, as always. And I was thinking about culture, education, the similarities we have in our lives. As far as cannabis is concerned, did you have anything you had to kind of like overcome, or elements of your past you had to shed to have like a healthy, a relationship with this plant?
I don't necessarily think that I had anything to overcome per se. Obviously there's a lot of stigma. There's still a lot of stigma attached to it. People have been taught that once they smell it, it's bad. And, it's just these things that we relate. And so I personally didn't have anything to overcome. I was pretty free in my use and my experimenting with it, and in my humble opinion, it's more other people that are still buying and selling that stigma.
Yeah.
That really need to overcome some things. But
that's very well said.
I guess it's getting better though, so we'll see.
I mean, small steps. We got to thank, we got to be thankful for any progress, but it's like we're fighting a decades old stigma that was carefully crafted, government funded, no less, and racially, and racially motivated. So
Absolutely.
People like to use that phrase way too much. There's a lot to unpack. Well, as far as ending the stigma surrounding cannabis, there's a lot, that needs to be done. So every chance we can to talk with an advocate, to talk with an educator, we want to bring them on. As far as what it's meant to you, has it changed your life in any way for the better?
Oh, absolutely. I'm proud to say that I'm a disciple of Bob Marley's message.
Yeah.
That's really where it comes from. And if I could just tell a quick story.
Please.
So my grandmother, who was a parishioner at this very school we were talking about, who I get all of my love and positive energy from, I was a little kid, about 4 years old, playing in her backyard with my brother. We were playing tag, and all of a sudden, I was stopped in my tracks. I had tingles all over my body, and I looked at my hands. I could hear the wind blowing. I hear birds chirping, and I looked at my hands and I said, "Where am I? What's going on right now? What is this life?" And that really stuck with me for a long time. And back in 2012, when the Marley movie came out, I started to really think about that time. And I know I was 4 years old. I know it was Mother's Day. We were over her house for Mother's Day. Well, that was the time that Bob was passing.
Wow.
He was coming back from Germany to Miami. He was trying to make it back to Kingston so he could pass, in his at
Right.
his home. And I just thought about that. I'm just one person that's been touched by his message, but I truly believe in my heart and know in my heart that man touched, his spirit was going through a transformation, and I feel like it coincided with that specific moment. And so obviously his cannabis use, something that always stuck out to me. He said, "The herb reveals you to yourself," and it's true. If any anxieties that I had gone through in my early youth, physical pain that I would have, I experimented with that plant and realized the benefits. Now, of course, people can abuse it and use it too much, and that's why I always consider it a tool.
Yeah.
And you don't carry a hammer around everywhere you go. So sometimes you have to put it down and just have an appreciation for it. But yeah, so that's just I
It's
wanted to get
amazing
that.
that you had that, you could connect that transcendent moment from your young life with one from your adult life, and they both revolved around this amazing spirituality. I got to tell you, is a man that I adore, simply because you look at him and you look at the way he used, let's take your term, as a tool. I mean, that's like what we could be if we all listen to our better angels, is to borrow that term that's thrown around a lot.
Sure.
It's incredible to have sort of like a spiritual role model, especially for young people growing up. And I'm glad you brought him up. Do you feel any connection living in Wilmington, for his brief little stint in Wilmington?
Well, absolutely. I mean, another connection. We'll keep that theme going.
Yeah, man.
So years ago, I was not living properly. Let's just say that. And
Hmm.
my bandmates dismissed me from my band. I was a little self-destructive, and they had my best interests in mind.
Huh.
So, and I was really heartbroken over that. And in my life, when I'm having some depressions or any kind of negative feelings, I always feel that if I could just give back to
Yeah.
something or someone, it can kind of carry me through that, so that I can get out of my own head and actually just be there for other people. So I decided to join Big Brothers Big Sisters,
Nice.
and they said, we have a waiting list of children. Do you care, what area they live in, or I said, whoever needs my help the most, please, you know, I don't have any hangups about anything. Well, they gave me Bob Marley's first cousin's son
Wow.
in over on Jefferson Street at the time, and it was at that time that I really got to meet the family that is still here. His cousins, and his aunt just passed away recently, and that was the last of the Malcolms. It's the Malcolm
Oh,
family.
okay.
So yes, I have a very deep connection um, with the family, and just his spirit and message and all that stuff. It's really amazing, actually.
Man, it's got to be kismet that something brought you two together
Yeah,
at that. That's fantastic,
yeah,
Kenny. It's
yep,
just remarkable. It's very bringing people together, and we keep this theme of connection. I think one way that you were connected to the cannabis community, for sure. was you did some work in a dispensary, and you were just talking about, we were talking about using this as a tool for whether that's anxiety or pain, and that's something I can certainly identify with. Can you tell us a little bit about your dispensary work? Because I don't think people understand, people that aren't members, people that aren't in the community. Not like it's an exclusive thing. We don't keep anyone out, but I know that not everyone's been in a dispensary, and some people still believe that you get cannabis from the shady looking dude in the Dare program comic books that we got in grade school, brother.
Yeah.
To walk us through the doors of a dispensary and talk a little bit about your day to day experiences, if you could.
Well, I was fortunate. A friend of mine, um, his brother and sister, were growers there, and it had not opened yet. So I reached out and asked them if they needed any help in trimming, or
Mhm.
any kind of help I could provide there. And so I was able to fortunately get a job in production, and we basically handled the plant from harvest all the way through the drying process, trimming it, rolling, pre-rolls, packaging, you know, the nut, all that stuff. So I really got a chance to see the process of the plant, the cultivation process through the harvest. And so it was really it was really amazing. It was a great experience just to physically be hands on with the plant all day long and taking care of it, because it was going to be used for medicine for
Yeah.
people, quite frankly. So I really took that to heart, and you know, after a while, I became kind of the pre-roll guy, because I figured out a way to, not make them so dense. And, it was all about consistency and drying
Sure.
level and stuff like that. And I was rolling, close to thousands of pre-rolls a day. And I ended up getting some upper bicep tendonitis just from twisting.
Wow.
So I like physically couldn't do that job anymore. And I said, listen, can you guys, I have a medical background. I used to be an EMT, and I would love to be a patient care tech, and actually transition into the dispensary itself. And I was able to do that. And that experience was amazing, because I got to meet people every day who were suffering from one ailment or another, a lot of physical pain, a lot of folks coming off of opiates that they just did not want they didn't want to be a slave to a pill anymore. And they finally found cannabis, whether it was CBD, that doesn't really get you high,
Hmm.
but it still gives you those physical properties of anti-inflammation and all the good stuff. It was day to day, I was able to literally connect with people and touch people and educate people. And I'm just so grateful for that opportunity. It was really amazing.
It's a wonderful opportunity, and you get to, again, I just wish more people would open their minds, open their hearts, and kind of walk through the doors of a dispensary and see what it's all about, instead of just assuming what's going down. It's what really holds a lot of things back. I remember our producer Frank and I went out to Washington State a while back to visit a grower that we work for, and it normalized, you can demystify cannabis, you can, all that mysterious quality surrounding that stigma, you just get to figure out what the process is about, get to see what cultivation is about. I tell people, it's like, guys, you think it's sexy, it's farming. It's
It's
farming.
true. It's true. It is not sexy. It's hands on. It's strenuous. It's tiring. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's
absolutely.
backbreaking work. But at the end of the day, so much good is being done. You were talking about patients that you worked with. We've dealt with people here in our work, in our outreach programs, veterans that were on five different pain prescriptions
Yes.
that was
Yes.
turning them into a monster at home.
Absolutely.
They transitioned to cannabis, transitioned to 2-to-1 CBD,
Right.
THC. They're normal again.
Yep.
And
PTSD. I can't tell you how many veterans with PTSD that it's changed their life. It's really changed their life. So how can you deny that?
you can't. You
You just can't.
you can't. And when I talk to people here, Ken, I like to say, we have made so much progress. I guess I can't really say that we've made small steps progress in cannabis, right? but we're also aware of the tremendous work that lies ahead with what we need to do to get where we want to be together. Um,
Right.
is there an issue or a an organization or a cause within cannabis that's close to your heart that you could talk to us about today?
Yeah, the one that's really um, jumped out at me and really touched me was the Last Prisoner Project.
Fantastic.
Uh, it's I'm sure you are aware. It's a nonprofit that focuses on cannabis criminal justice reform, just through education and policy change. I mean, there's the disparity in the ethnicity disparity with the jails, and
Unreal.
how so the work that they're doing is tremendous. And again, like you said, it's like these small incremental steps, and we're really, hopefully within the next few years here, we can really make a bigger leap to just getting the prisons emptied of low level drug offenders, and just full legalization, really.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. But look, Last Prisoner Project, I keep going back to this thing about, it's my focus with you, it's connection and it's community, right? But I mean, you look at these people that were out there, the good-minded people, good-hearted people. The Last Prisoner Project is bringing these people together, focusing them on these amazing idealistic goals, and we're getting results. I mean, it's lovely to see guys like Craig Cizal that should have never been in prison in the first place gets out. He's home with his daughter now. I mean, they're putting a happy ending at the end of a lot of sad stories. So I'm glad you brought them up,
Absolutely.
Kenny. I'm so glad you
Yeah,
brought them up.
absolutely.
When I think of you, my friend, I think of a few things. I think of soccer. I think
I
of
was I was hoping you were going to say that.
I think of cannabis. I think of
Where where
music.
you where are Juventus Paisans?
Huh? Oh, dude,
You know,
I haven't gone anywhere. We're just having the worst year ever.
well,
We're just,
it ebbs and flows,
it
unfortunately.
does.
But
Your boys are having a wonderful spell. It's been tough for Liverpool though this year.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when with injuries, when you injure main players,
Yeah.
and it just disrupts the entire defense, and they just couldn't have any stability, really.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but again, ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows,
Yeah,
man. We gotta.
we have a Champions League and a league title last year, so
You got to be
I
happy with
can't be
that.
yeah I
I,
can't
I
be
remember
too
seeing.
upset.
I remember seeing the picture of you at Rooney celebrating in the middle of the day when that league title was announced. So I'm very happy for this the success that you guys have had in the past couple of years. But I was thinking about all those things. I was thinking about soccer. I was thinking about cannabis. I was thinking about music. What's the one thing that in common with those things? They're communal. They're
Absolutely.
communal. They're
Yep.
best if done with other people. So I wanted to get to the big thing, man. I want to talk music with you. I
Yeah,
want to
man.
talk music. I want to talk about the new record that we heard some of it at the beginning of this, but I gotta I'm gonna draw back the curtain for the listeners here, because if Ken tries to be humble here, I'm gonna call him on it. Um, it's like when I remember Kenny as a kid, and it's like watch him play basketball, and I think he must have just picked that up and known what the hell that was for. Kenny was a brilliant basketball player. Soccer ball at his feet. Kenny's a brilliant soccer player. It's like you must have known when that ball was at your feet. You just knew what to do with it, and you knew what that sport was about. Let me ask you this: when you picked up the guitar, was there a similar feeling, like you were supposed to have this?
Absolutely. I would say so. I mean, I was around, my friends at the time were musicians. I befriended a guy, my buddy Mike, who I'm fortunate enough to still be playing music with. And
Nice.
I would just watch, I'm kind of you know, I just watch people that are skilled and at the best at what they do. I just watch them and try to mimic what they
Yeah.
do. And then after a while, you kind of get your own style. But yeah, the music thing, it was, you know, one of my earliest memories is singing, is just singing in the car, you know, in the back seat, in my car seat. And I remember my mom kind of turning around and saying, what the heck is this kid doing back here? And I just always had a song. I was always wanting to sing, and being creative. And it's just another form of self-expression, much like soccer and sports and stuff like that. Yeah. So I just, yeah, it's who I am.
It is who you are, and I love that. I love you come so far with it. I love that we have a new a record on the way.
Yeah, man.
We're
Really
shooting
excited.
for April.
Yeah, it's being pressed at Third Man Pressing, which
Mhm.
Third Man Records is Jack White's label. They're pressing it out of Detroit. So they just got the stampers in. We should have the test presses within the next week or two,
Mhm.
and then we'll just give it a listen, give them sign off on it, and then we should have them about the second week of April.
I can't wait to get it in my hands, and I know where I've got to go over to 11th Street to pick it up. Now, I wanted to ask you about this too. If people aren't familiar, one of the greatest additions I think to our blossoming community in Wilmington is Squeezebox Records. It's 1901
Absolutely.
11th Street. It's a family-owned place. If you're a record nut like us, you can buy, you can sell, you could trade. This is a place where they say music is medicine. I could not agree more. Kenny, how'd you get hooked up with these guys?
Well, I'll tell you, uh, um, a buddy of mine who you mentioned me celebrating the Liverpool title last year.
Yeah,
A good friend of ours, neighborhood guy, Josh. Uh,
absolutely.
he passed away unfortunately a few years ago, and it was at the same time that we heard about this Squeeze Box Records, and nobody kind of knew what it was. We
Mhm.
heard it was over on the other side of Pennsylvania Avenue, and again, with this kind of spiritual connection, kismet, serendipitous type of thing, we kind of felt as soon as we walked into Squeezebox, we felt that Josh kind of put this here for us
Ah, that's
because he was a
beautiful.
music nut.
He was.
He was a record store guy, and we were like, man, Josh kind of gave this to us. Now
Ah,
Rich and his wife it's their business, but and I've told Rich that story too. So, yeah, man, it's just I feel like we're very, very, very fortunate that Squeeze Box, and they're doing so well now. The place is great. Rich just wants people to come and enjoy music. Come in and listen to the new records he's playing, and dig around, and the energy and the vibes are all about love and positivity, and like you said, community. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about it, really.
I can't either, my friend. And I got to get there. I saw they posted yesterday. They got a Grateful Dead live in Stanford from '88 that I don't have. So if I can get over there, damn it.
I mean, every day they're getting some new new stuff for them, but like original pressings. I was just in there yesterday, I think, and they had this like original pressing of Pink Floyd that was like a compilation of some of their earlier stuff with some of
Oh,
their
really?
newer stuff. It was just and it was like you don't see this anywhere, but somehow it finds its way to Squeezebox.
Ugh, I'm so glad that they're there. I'm so glad you shared that story about Josh too. That's just beautiful.
Yeah, always dear and close to us. So
No doubt, no doubt. I missed the guy terribly. There's something else. If we're talking about community, I wanted to see if you could talk a little bit about the Box Concerts Foundation, Kenny, and and
sure.
and, and what that is and how we can support it.
Well, you know, the shop has taken some transformations over the years, and they moved some stuff around. Well, there's a stage. I played Rich had me play there when they first opened. I think it was a record store day, and for another event that he had had. Um, so they kind of put a stage back there. There's sound equipment. There's all kinds of amps. There's a drum kit. So I saw this, back in, I guess it was midsummer, when
Mhm.
he had just kind of got it arranged. And I said, man, there should be shows here. We should have, this visual is perfect to have some kind of show here and put it online. So over the course of the last few months, I restructured my old nonprofit that I had, and I filed an amendment to change the name, and I was able to successfully do all that. And now we started Box Concerts Foundation. So the idea is we have local artists come in. At some point, hopefully, when things open back up again, we'll have more regional people come through as well. But the idea is to come. We accept donations, and the artist who is the guest for that particular show, they get to choose a local charity of their choosing, and then we just split the money between the artist and the charity.
That's
And
awesome.
so, that's just what it has. We had our first one this past Sunday with Genesis Z and the Black Mambas. It was very successful.
Good.
Um, April 18th, Sunday night, we have Jonathan Whitney and his jazz quintet coming in.
Fantastic
He's got a
musician.
couple of really good charities that he's working with, and yeah, we're in the process of scheduling May. That's tentative, but we're just kind of getting the ball rolling here, and trying to make it happen.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we're going to support you any way we can. I'm so grateful that you brought this to our community because it's much needed, not just now, but I mean, looking ahead, we need more. We need more cultural outlets. It's one of the things that I've been, yearning for ever since I moved back to Wilmington as an adult.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
need more performance spaces. We need more places for people to express themselves. So, congratulations on that, and
yeah.
thank you for setting that up.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
As far as I gotta ask a couple of things though, buddy. The if people, I guess if they want to talk to Dylan about Blood on the Tracks, you're going to say those are songs born out of pain, out of struggle and heartache. Talk to me about the record because these are songs born out of what? I can tell you what I feel when I hear them and the tracks I've heard, but what are these songs born out of?
I mean, simply love. That's really what it boils down to. It boils down to love. It boils down to relationships and connections, and that's just really the message.
It's appropriate. It's
So
appropriate coming from you, my man. As far as our listeners are concerned, I want people to go out. I want them to go to Squeezebox. I want them to pick up the record. That's where we can find it. Where can we find you to keep tabs on what you're doing and what you'll be doing in the future?
yeah, the record itself is going to be. It's really nice. The packaging is great. It's really going to be a special thing. And like you said, that'll be available at Squeezebox. The music is also available digitally now on most platforms. It's on Spotify, YouTube, all the main platforms, Apple Music. I'm really a I tend to like Instagram. That's kind of my thing, and I have it linked to my Facebook, so I can post something on Instagram, and it shoots right over to my Facebook page. So it's just at Kenny Vanella, um, and you can find me there, please. And then I have a YouTube channel. I have a video that I shot at Brandywine Park last year about cannabis, called Fickle Lickle Tree.
Beautiful.
And if you could go just subscribe to my channel, it would be a big help.
Look for at Kenny Vanilla on Instagram. Please subscribe to his YouTube channel. I'm butchering some words. I almost, I butchered the name of our hometown. I butchered Wilmington in the damn intro. I'm just off today. Follow Kenny on Instagram. Please go to the YouTube channel and please subscribe. Kenny's going to be taking us out today with an outro song. And it's a song that I've come to really like. Ken, when I hear Riverwalk, it conjures up everything that I think that we're desperately missing right now. The beauty of being together, right? The beauty of
Absolutely.
just being together as a bigger family, as a larger community. Anything you can tell us about Riverwalk before you send us out with it?
Yeah, Riverwalk really. It was born out of me running down to the Riverwalk. I was living on Market Street at the time, and I would run the Brandywine River and then go down to the Riverwalk, and this sound just came into my head, and I worked some lyrics out and the idea for it. So really, it's just the inspiration of our city of Wilmington, and it's about the people, it's about the community, and our connection to one another. So yeah, that's really what it's about.
Man, that's, you summed it up. It's everything I love, and I listen. Thank you for sharing your talents with us. Thank you for
Thank you,
sharing your
man.
story with us, my friend. I really, really appreciate it. Your story is significant. That's the title of this little segment, and just know how much I appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much.
I appreciate you, Nick, big time, man. I really appreciate this. This has been great. Thank
All
you.
right, Ken, I hope you'll join us down here live and play for us in the future when we can all get back together and we'll promote the next album. So until that time, we'll see you next time, and join us again from Delaware. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Springtime bouncing on the trampoline. Summertime, me out all time.